Hey students, how are you all? I hope you had a very happy Diwali, and now that the festivities are over, I'll welcome you all once again to the online English classes. The picture that you can see on your screen right now, does it remind you of something? Does it suggest you of something? Actually, this picture is a reference to the chapter that we are now going to discuss. Alright, so look at the picture very carefully. There is a man, or a very old man, yes, and it seems that he was sleeping for quite some time, and now that he has woken up, he's yawning. Yes? So do you remember any such chapter that's there in your book? If you have gone through your book, you must have seen something like this. Any chapter that has a similar theme? Can you recall that? If your answer is Rip Van Winkle, then you are absolutely right, because this is the chapter that we are now going to discuss for the upcoming few days. This person is none other than the author of this particular story, Rip Van Winkle. His name is Washington Irving. So here are a few details about him. Let's just see those. So as we can see, his birth date is 3rd April 1783. Okay, so just try to imagine, now it's 2020 and this man took birth in the year 1783. So more than 200 years ago. Yes, and he took birth in a place called Manhattan, that is in New York, United States. He died on 28 November 1859 in again a place called Tarrytown, again in New York, United States. So what was he famous as? He was famous as a short story writer, an essayist, a biographer, and a historian. Yes, so Rip Van Winkle is a short story. Other than this, he also wrote essays, he also wrote biographies, and he also wrote about histories. Okay, that is why he has been called a historian. And some of his famous short stories are The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle, the chapter that we are right now going to discuss. The statue that you can see right now belongs to the character Rip Van Winkle. Okay, and this character is a creation of Washington Irving. Yes, so this statue is situated in Irvington. Now, where is Irvington? It is in New York. And also see that it is a town named for Washington Irving. So just see how famous this person was. He was so famous that a town was named after him. Alright? And where is this place? It is not far from the Tarrytown location of Sunnyside. Again, these are place names in New York. Okay? And Tarrytown was Irving's final home. Final home means this is where he breathed his last. Let us begin the chapter. Rip Van Winkle. This story is about Rip Van Winkle, a good-natured but lazy man who goes away into the hills and falls asleep. So from the very first line of this chapter, what information are we getting? It is that Rip Van Winkle was a good-natured man. He was kind-hearted, but he was very lazy. And in this chapter, what are we going to discuss? It is about an incident where he goes away into the hills and he falls asleep. Alright? And when he awakens 20 years later, Rip finds that quite a few things have changed. Alright, so I know it's difficult for you to digest. How can a man sleep for 20 years? We cannot even sleep for 20 hours at a stretch, but this person slept for 20 years. I know it's very difficult to imagine, but still you have to, because this is a kind of a imagination. Yes, somebody's imagination. This is a fiction. That is why anything is possible here. The last line that we read in the bubble, you came across a word, quiet. Yes? Now, both the words have the same pronunciation. As you can see, there are two quiets. Okay, but how they are different, now we are going to see. And the last line that we read in the bubble, you came across a word, quiet. Yes? Now, both the words have the same pronunciation. As you can see, there are two quiets. Okay, but how they are different, now we are going to see. And it's very important for you to understand what the basic difference is, because most of the times students get confused and they write the wrong spelling of quiet. So the word quiet that has been used in the chapter, that is the first one that you can see on your screen right now, Q-U-I-T-E, is an adverb. On the other hand, Q-U-I-E-T is an adjective. Alright, so for the first difference is the difference in the spelling. The second is that it is one is an adverb, another is an adjective. So as an adverb, the word quiet means the extent or degree of something. Some examples are given. It's quite hot outside. It's quite rude. The exam was quite easy. So the exam was quite easy or quite difficult. What are we getting to know here? We are able to understand the amount or the degree of it. Yes. Now as an adjective, the word quiet means making little or no noise, to carry out something discreetly. Okay, so some examples are, it was very quiet in the office. Please be quiet. I will have a quiet word with him tomorrow. So I hope you have now understood what the basic difference between Q-U-I-T-E and Q-U-I-E-T is. And I also hope that you will not make any more mistakes in the future. Let's continue. Many years ago, at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains was a little village. Now students, you must be wondering why there are two spellings of the same word. If you can recall the chapter The Talkative Barber, there also we came across a similar thing where same words were written twice but in different spellings. Yes, here also the same thing is happening. So the word that has been put in the brackets is to be used for the pronunciation. But when you are writing answers, you will use the word that is written outside the bracket. Okay, so it's not supposed to be pronounced as Catskill. It should be pronounced as Catskill. Okay, so let us first see what is the meaning of the word foothill. The word foothill means a low hill at the base of a mountain or mountain range. Now students, I hope you already know what is the difference between a hill and a mountain. Yes, a hill is much smaller than a mountain. So any small hill, a hill that is very small in size, if it is at the foot of the mountain, so you see where the word is coming from. Yes, you know what a foot means. Yes, so a mountain, if you imagine the mountain and if you also imagine any small hill that is almost at the level of its foot, that is called a foothill. Now you also have to understand that mountains do not have feet. Okay, it's just a way of saying this. In the village lived a simple, good-natured fellow named Rip Van Winkle. So we already read it in the bubble that Rip Van Winkle was a very good-natured person. Yes, he was a kind neighbor, ready to help anyone. So he was very helpful to everyone around him. Yes, and this is the first reason why he has been called a good-natured fellow, because he was very helpful. Everyone in the village liked him. Naturally, if we come across a person who is very helpful, we will like him or her. The children of the village shouted with joy whenever they saw him because he played with them. He taught them to fly kites and shoot marbles and told them long stories. Alright, so the elders of the village liked Rip Van Winkle because he was very helpful, and the younger people of the village, that is the children of the village, loved him because he played with them. Yes, what else did he teach them? He taught them to fly kites, to shoot marbles, and he also told them long stories. If you don't know what shooting marbles is, this is what it looks like. Here these two kids are playing with marbles and they're shooting the marbles. Yes, these little stones, these are called marbles. And as you already know, marbles are also called kancha in Hindi. Now that we have discussed the first part of this particular chapter, let us have a quick recap of all the things we have discussed in today's video. In the very beginning, we saw that Rip Van Winkle is a short story written by Washington Irving. This story is about a man who was very lazy and who lived at the foothills of the Catskill Mountains. He was a kind man who was loved by people of all ages. Now it's time for you to answer some very easy questions. The first question is, where was Rip Van Winkle's village located? Number 2, why did everyone in the village like Rip Van Winkle? Number 3, what are the things that the children learned from Rip Van Winkle? Number 4, who has authored the story Rip Van Winkle? So these are very easy questions and you'll have no difficulty in answering these if you go through the chapter carefully, and if you have any difficulty in answering any of these questions, you can once again refer to this video. Alright students, with this we come to the end of our discussion of the first part of the story Rip Van Winkle. We'll continue with the next parts in the next few videos. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.